Don't be deceived. A woman do not love. They honor you. If you give them love and attention, they shower you with praises. And when those things diminishes, she shows you a real person. You want her to love you. You want her to be submissive. You want her to be everything you want. Give her money. Give her money. Give her money. Keep giving her money. Ị na-enye Chukwu ego gburu mmadụ wee kpata o. Ị na-enye Chineke ego ahụ kpatara n'iko. Thousand chimachọgụdị ego ahụ. Million chimachọgụdị ego ahụ ị na-anụ.
Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. Today's true crime story is a very heavy one, and before I get into it, I would first want to advise that no matter what you are going through in life, wherever you are watching this video, please, suicide is not an option. If you are having any thoughts or any sentiments of considering that as an option based on what you are facing, I advise that you see a professional as soon as possible or reach out for help. Today's true crime story is taking us to Nigeria in West Africa, and like I mentioned, it's a very heavy one. It talks about the story of a man by name Richard Ono Chukuma. You saw him at the introduction of the video, flaunting the dollars and talking about the fact that all women need is for you to give them money. I don't want to get into the truth or otherwise of that statement, but unfortunately, after posting such videos and other Facebook posts talking about money, betting, and other stuff, he has unfortunately unalived himself as of about 48 hours ago because he was deep in debt and he had to pay that debt by a deadline. This was debt that he had accumulated as a result of engaging in excessive gambling, and as such, he had to pay off or he was going to get into serious trouble. He was in debt up to the tune of 2.5 million naira. In case you are not familiar with naira, Naira is the currency of Nigeria, and I don't understand why this gentleman had to gamble to that extent. As it will turn out in my research, he had actually been moving with some politicians, and he at a point in time even stood for the position of an assembly member. So there were people who were actually referencing him with the title of most African politicians honorable. So he had this sort of flex or reputation among some circles that he was actually in the making of becoming a politician. And typical as it is in Africa, you would have some people think or associate success with such a person. So if that was the case, how then would Richard Ono Chukuma end up deciding that he was actually going to unalive himself because he had gambled into debt of 2.5 million naira, the equivalent of 3,149 US dollars and 43 cents. Yeah, and I bet you this is lesser than someone's monthly salary in another country. I took my time to research on Richard and his social media presence to have an idea of the journey that he was going through from his inception into the gambling through to the point where he decided that enough was enough. He was rather going to opt out of life instead of stay alive and face the shame. Now we get into the details. I'm tracing the history from the 12th of February from Richard Onochukome's Facebook post that he put out. This was what he said. Count it all joy to have breath. I don't know what you are going through in life, what issues are bothering you so much, and for how long. This is life, and everything is temporary. I am not sure how helpless you are to help yourself, but God can always intervene and fix everything beyond your imagination. Now, this was a post that Richard Onochukoma put out on the 12th of February 2023. So this would be about 10 to 11 months before he would end up in a situation where, going beyond all these motivational posts that he had put out, he felt that the best option was to unalive himself. Because if you are here on Facebook, nicely dressed, looking dapper and fly, and posting a motivational and spiritual message saying that count it all joy to have breath. I don't know what you are going through in life, what issues are bothering you so much, and for how long. This is life, and everything is temporary. I'm not sure how helpless you are to help yourself, but God can always intervene and fix everything beyond your imagination. Now, if Richard knows all this, how come he didn't fall on this motivation and inspiration when he got into debt of 2.5 million naira? Don't get me wrong. I am not trying to mock him or mock his passing. I'm trying to establish a point that sometimes some things are easier said than done. He knew the theory and he put it out like this on the 12th of February on Facebook. But when the reality came, when the reality hit him, this motivational message went out of the window. I'm using this as a premise to advise anyone who is watching this video that please don't go on social media and see certain posts and think that your life is worse off because you are seeing people looking all successful, all motivated, all spiritual, all happy, and seemingly all perfect. I tell you, everybody is going through something, and emphasis is on everybody. Even the rich are dealing with something that the poor may not be dealing with. Yes, money reduces the headache and the burdens, but it doesn't give you a perfect life. If you don't agree, let me know in the comment section. If you agree, let me know in the comment section. But this is a typical example. He was even referencing that God can always intervene and fix everything beyond your imagination, no matter what your problems are. But when he was hit with a problem of being in debt of 2.5 million naira, he took the easy way out and opted to unalive himself. Now, fast forward to the 29th of July 2023. We see Richard Onochukoma again coming in to post this, and this was what he said. Am I irresponsible? I heard single people are irresponsible. Honor, good morning. This post seems like nothing, but for me, it seems like either the prelude or the aftermath to a conversation about being responsible. And mind you, even the betting companies themselves, after all their advertisements, would leave a clause saying that bet responsibly. Betting can be addictive, so bet responsibly. And this is a standard requirement for all betting adverts. So if you are going to subscribe to betting, you might as well take that advice. For me, I do not bet. I'm not here to condemn people who bet. I know one or two people who bet but do their best to bet responsibly. As to whether they are actually being responsible, I can't say. But I do not bet myself. But then, the advice from the betting companies themselves is that bet responsibly. So, if you are betting responsibly, how then do you end up taking your 1 million naira and going to borrow an additional 1.5 million naira from people, all just so you can invest in betting? I don't see the sense in it, and no disrespect to him or his person, but I think that was him being irresponsible, and I think he's irresponsible in that regard, especially because it turns out he has a kid. Because on the 2nd of November, he actually posted himself with a picture and a young handsome man, or handsome boy for that matter, and he captioned it as "Happy first birthday to Uchi, our little bundle of joy. Wishing you a day filled with love and laughter." Now, if this is the case, you are not even living life for yourself anymore. You are living life for yourself and your child and your spouse. I don't know if he was officially married or it was a child he had with his fiancée, but either way, you are fathering a child and you are with a partner. These are key people whose lives are either affected positively or negatively by your decisions, including what you've just done now. So, why this decision then? What was important to you? I'm putting out this video so that this can also be a life lesson to us as we also commiserate with the life of with the people who were in his life as loved ones and his family who have lost him, and at the same time take a cue from this. It is important we grieve with them and wish him a peaceful rest, but then it's also critical that we take a cue from how these things can start seemingly small and escalate into something that begins to look like a life or death situation, because he actually won some of his bets. He came back to Facebook on the 8th of October 2023 and actually posted, "I won my bet." And he showed a screenshot of him having won 68,500 naira. Now, the thing about betting is, if you can't control yourself, don't get involved. Because most often, people lose more than they win. And you may suffer about 5 or 6 consistent losses and maybe win once, and then you begin to feel like you can win back everything you've lost if you invest more. And then you begin to lose more when you are investing that more. And when you don't invest more, you win less. So you begin to get caught up in a cycle of thinking you can make back the money you've lost and some additional money, when in fact you are losing more and more and more. And if you don't have that responsible character towards betting, you begin to resort to means like stealing and even borrowing to fund your betting habit. And this was where Richard seemingly found himself, because he actually sent a WhatsApp message to someone, and this was what he said. He said that the only option is to end it all, as he cannot live with the shame. My Excellency, sir, please come to my rescue. The only option is to end it all, as I cannot live with the shame. I have turned into a gambler because of no job, and right now I am at a point, if I don't redeem my debt, I may unalive myself to pay the debt. I used 2.5 million naira to place a bet, and 1.2 million is not my own, and if I don't pay up today, I'm going to be in trouble. And this person responded and told him that he also doesn't have the money to help him pay off this debt. He can give him something small to go and reduce the debt amount, but he cannot give him all the money to go and pay off. And that is the thing. You begin to leverage the financial burden on others who are not readily available to solve it for you. I don't understand why we seem to do this to ourselves. In this message, if it truly came from him, he is saying that he has turned into a gambler because of no job. But let's analyze that statement critically, vis-a-vis the fact that he's saying he used 2.5 million naira to place that bet, and out of that 1.2 million naira is not his. So it means that he had 1.3 million naira as his own money. Now the question is, you don't have a job, but you have 1.3 million naira. Why didn't you use it to start a business or something, instead of resorting to looking for quick returns by venturing into betting? Am I making a solid point here? Because I think I am. Because if he had done that, maybe the business would have been successful, or even if that business failed, it would have just been you losing your own money. You would still be alive and ready to try again, counting on God to intervene and fix everything for you. But the quest for quick returns, for instant gratification, unfortunately led Richard Onochukoma to take the shorter route of going betting. I'm not saying nobody should bet, but like I've said earlier, if you are deciding to bet, please bet responsibly. Now, aside having a child and a spouse or a partner, Richard, per his posts on the 16th of November, actually also has his mom. He has never mentioned his father on his social media handle, so I don't know if his dad is alive or not. But he actually references that his mom is alive, and that this was what he said: "My mother has sent out a memo to our village WhatsApp group asking interested brides to come pay my groom's dowry, as she will give me out to anyone who steps forward. Am I that old? Please make Ona help me ask my mom." This was sort of funny though, but at least it establishes the point that you have a mom. These are people who love you. These are people you should consider at the point you got to thinking that unaliving yourself was the answer. I felt that that was very out of place, and he should have looked beyond what he was feeling. It's easier said than done, I know. But that is why you must also be able to surround yourself with people of substance who can get you out of some of these things as and when they come up. On the 19th of November 2023, and this was just about 2 weeks or 3 weeks before he would unalive himself, he came back to Facebook. And this is what he posted: "May you never beg for daily bread. Breakfast meal courtesy of my landlady. Happy Sunday. Today is holy. Keep it holy, please. Don't visit that brother in his house." And he posted a picture of a bowl of food. And you see, you might not be rich, but you have life. Here in Ghana, there's a saying that if you have life, you have wealth, because you don't know what tomorrow is bringing. Your life can change just like that. So you had all these people who care for you, even a landlady who from time to time was just giving you free food. I don't understand why it was so urgent for this guy to commit his seemingly life savings into betting. Did he sit down and do the cost-benefit analysis of what would happen if he lost that money? And by extension, did he do that same analysis when he decided that he was going to add monies of people he had borrowed and invest that money into the betting? And it goes back to the politician background, because it seems that he may have wanted the money quickly instead of hustling for it the right way. I'm not saying the betting is the wrong way, but what I mean is there's a sort of joy that comes when you are hustling through your own work, not resorting to quick cash schemes or instant gratification schemes, because most of the time they do not work, or their risks are really high, as has manifested here, and he didn't have the heart to stand it. I bet you there are others who are owing more than that in betting, and they are still alive because they have the heart to handle it, but he didn't. And I don't know if he felt he was going to win by hook or crook. But in betting, in venturing into it, you should be ready to take losses because you can't control the outcome, although you can try to predict it. So this is what it is. And it is very, very sad that such a very handsome, strong, energetic young man will find himself in such a situation where he has had to lose his life at his own hands because of betting. I don't know how his family is handling this, but I know it's not going to be easy for them. I just wished he would have had people around him who could have supported him and even helped him to control his gambling addiction, because it seems he had an addiction. I don't know if he himself was aware he had this addiction or others around him knew. Or I don't also know if those who were around him actually advised him and he refused to take it. But ultimately, it's very unfortunate it has had to end this way, because when he was in the process of unaliving himself, he actually came live on Facebook again, and he was chatting with people, telling them what he has done to himself. So his clock was literally ticking out as he was doing the Facebook Live with his friends, and in that he was thanking some people and letting them know that before their life will be over, his life will also be over. And his friends rushed to him. They came to his premises. They conveyed him to the hospital, but unfortunately, the doctors couldn't resuscitate him. And just like that, the young life of Richard Ono Chukuma was lost due to the threat and fear of shame of having lost his money and that of other people's money in gambling, and he not being able to pay back. That is so sad. And when I saw in his message that he said he has become a gambler because of no job, I felt very sad, because there are a lot of youth like that here in Africa who are also in this bracket. But the thinking or the perspective on that statement is split. There are some who take the stance that Richard took in this message, that there is no job, so he's a gambler. In that group, some of them agree with Richard, but they are very careful of their risks. Some are also reckless and they end up in deep trouble. Then there's the other side who do not believe that they don't have a job just because they haven't been employed. They rather decide that I haven't been employed, but by virtue of the fact that I have some money I could bet with, I'd rather put that money together and start a business. And some of them are able to break through after years of hard work. And the beauty about that is, once that breakthrough happens, it can be a legacy you can leave for your kid, like this son that Richard Ono Chukuma has with his partner. It could become a legacy that could actually employ other youth who are in gambling or who are considering going into gambling, and create wealth for generations in your family. If you are watching this as a youth, my advice to you is, please do not try to find shortcuts to gaining wealth. The risks are higher and it might cost you so much, as we are seeing happening to Richard here. And also, no matter what you are going through, like I said earlier, talk to somebody, seek professional help. Never think that you are alone. Never think that there's no solution for you. Never think that you have it worse off than everybody else because of what you see them posting on social media. You have no idea what people are facing behind the social media pages that they are running. People are going through a lot. So, your situation that you are so sad and bitter about might actually be much, much better than the person you are admiring on social media and thinking that that person is the luckiest person in the world. Subscribe to the channel if you are yet to do so. Turn on the post notifications. What do you think about this whole case? What do you think Richard could have done differently? Share these videos with any young person you know and any other person you know. It could end up saving a life, I tell you. Everybody needs somebody, and this is a message I believe a lot of people need to know. Let's not just enjoy the story or listen to the details, but let's learn from the facts it's coming with by sharing with other people. Until I come your way next time, please stay safe, keep an eye out, and I'll catch you.